alone,
Wow.
feeling like there was no one that cared of what was going on inside of me.
Wow.
I had so many different things that happened to me, trauma, so much trauma that was going on in my life from the age of 6 years old up until the age of 35.
Wow.
And I just did not want to go through it anymore, and I had to come to a place of truth with myself. Either I'm gonna keep this stuff inside of me or I'm gonna let it go.
Wow.
So carrying so much hurt for 29 years is a lot from a child.
Wow.
And
how old are you now?
I'm 35, be 36 in October.
Okay.
So I finally came off mute because when the book was released, the book was set to release in April of this year, but I still ended up going through some more trials and had to add a chapter to finish it out. So when we finished it out, my publisher, Tamika Smith, she's a book coach out of Greensboro, Durham, North Carolina, Wordsmith Enterprises. She ended up helping me, push me to finish my book because I was done with it. I wasn't going to release the book. I was like, I'm not going to do it because some more obstacles came, which I'll talk later on about. But more obstacles came, and I just didn't want to deal with those obstacles anymore. So what ended up happening, I came to myself, had a truth moment, and I came off mute because I didn't want to be hurt no more. I wanted to really live in freedom. I wanted to know what freedom was like. I didn't want to be no longer in bondage.
Wow. I like this cover. I mean, it is so eye-catching.
Oh, wow.
This cover, I mean, it's amazing because a lot of times in life, people go through life circumstances that are so painful that it just seems like it mutes their very being, who they are as a person.
Yes.
And you were saying something about the rejection and feeling a sense of validation, basically knowing who you are as an individual. Because sometimes we are somebody, not sometimes, we're somebody's mother, we're somebody's wife, we're somebody's mentor. We wear all these different hats, but who are we when we're unmuted? Who do they know who we are as an individual?
Right.
So what are some things along your journey? I know you said rejection. What helped you to get past feeling the sense of rejection?
Well, my daughter, number one, Jayla, she loves so much, and she loves hugs. And there were times where when I wanted attention and affection, and I'm just saying this, being so forthcoming and honest, but when I was in relationships before I had got married, if I lacked the attention from that man that I was with, Jayla hugs made me feel so much better. She made me feel like I existed, like I have a reason to be here. And that's why I said that validation and rejection come from, but hugs was what broke the ice for me really feeling the hugs and love from her, because I'm a hugger. I'm not the type of person that don't like hugs. I feel like hugs, you can really feel that person's warmth. You can feel whether that person really wants to be around you. Affection is huge for me, and when I say it's huge for me, you really get to know who a person really are. So hugs is what really broke the ice. And my daughter Jayla, she loves a lot of affection. She loves a lot of attention. At first, I wasn't like that. At first, I was very standoffish. I was very I loved being hugged and affectionate towards those who I wanted to be, but not the ones who I didn't want to be. So that's when I realized that I had a lot of hurt, and I dealt with rejection from those who I wanted love from, and I didn't get it.
Wow. I know that's a hard place to be in, to be looking for love, especially in a relationship, and having to, not that your child can feel the void of a relationship, from an individual, but that bond of love between a mother and a child can fill so many empty spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know. For me, I remember a point in my life in ministry that was the hardest point for me. So I can understand about being muted, because you don't act a certain way, you don't sound a certain way, you may not have the certain image or look, or sometimes I'm a little loud, a little ghetto. I guess that's what they call it, a little ghetto, whatever. And so I for many years, so I understand what you're saying, I felt rejected, like I didn't fit in any place, because it was like, do these people really know who I am? Do I have to put on this facade to be something, be somebody who I'm not?
Right.
And so you find yourself over and over again trying to fit in these places with people, places, things, when they really don't validate who you are as a person.
No.
That comes from God Himself. So what was kind of like the final breaking point for you to come off mute of saying that I don't care if they reject me. I don't care if they don't accept me. This is who I am. Either you gonna love me for who I am, or
bye-bye.
Yeah.
That final place that I came to was, I was in my room and I was just sitting there, and my husband, we were talking, we was having a conversation. He said, you still got more of your book to write. And that conversation went left for me, because I was wanting attention from my husband. I wasn't trying to focus on no book.
Wow.
And I had a lot of unanswered questions. I did. And he would say, well, any questions that you have, you go to God and ask. I was like, okay. I go to God and ask Him, because I still felt empty.
Wow.
You have some people who are married and they can still feel empty. I only felt happy and full when he was around. Wow. But when he wasn't around, and you're asked that question of, when did I come to this place? When he wasn't around, I felt lost.
Wow.
And I had to learn that I had to build my relationship with God stronger. That let me know that my relationship with God was not as strong as I thought it was. I felt like I had to live like him, be in the shadows of Him.
Yeah.
And I felt complete as long as He was around. But when He wasn't around, I was incomplete.
Wow.
And when I got to that place to where, like, this is not how I'm supposed to be. I should be okay whether He's here or not.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to have a moment with myself and said, God, I'm sorry, because I had allowed my husband to become my idol, my God.
Wow.
And I focused mostly on what I was not getting from him than I was with my relationship with God.
Oh, wow.
So what ended up filling me was I had to come to that truth place to say, okay, God, I apologize for what I have done, because I put him before you. Wow. That's why so much havoc is going on. But if you just give me another chance to be with you, I promise you I won't never put nothing in front of you again.
Oh, wow.
And so when I made that decision, that I wasn't gonna hurt no more. I wasn't gonna feel alone no more. I chose to just let everything, every hurt, everything that I was feeling, even in that time and past times, to really allow to give all my burdens over to him and put him first. And I chose to love on God, and I chose to allow God to love on me. So I asked God, can you love on me? Can you just love on me? Can you feel those areas in me that are incomplete? Those areas where I feel like there's no attention. I'm feeling void. I'm feeling like I'm not getting what I need. And when I found out that God said, "Oh, I've been here the whole time. I just been waiting for you to just say that to me. I've just been waiting for you to just ask me to come in." And see, what we don't realize is that God is on the other side of that door knocking.
Yes.
Where He wants us to open that door for Him to come in.
Yes.
And what's coming in is love. And that's what fills those area of voids. When you don't have peace, because I didn't have peace in my life. On the outside, it looked beautiful.
Wow.
On the outside, it was amazing. But on the inside, it was so destroyed.
Oh,
it was a 5,000 puzzle that was all placed all over the place. But God said, listen, if you can just give me your pieces of what you have, I can actually come in and love you and put you back together like a puzzle. I don't want you to be in a full puzzle.
A fragmented, yeah.
And so it really helped me to where my mindset had to shift to where it was all God. And God was going to be my first. As the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Come on here.
And that's what ended up happening for me.
Wow. I mean, that's just so amazing, because a lot of times we put, our children, our spouses, ministry, put everything before our relationship, money, job, career, all of that, and we put God on the back burner.
Absolutely.
And that should not be our focus. Our focus should be God first, and then everything else falls into place, because the Bible candidly tells us if we seek, the kingdom of God and His righteousness, then He'll add those things onto our life. But what happens is we seek the things and bypass seeking God. So we have to seek God first.
Right.
And then everything else in our life falls into place. And it's so funny that you said, you basically you had made your husband your God, and then when you took your husband and put him in his place and put God in His rightful place, then everything else started falling into place for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we feel empty. But I tell people all the time, the reason why you have a void in your life is because you're not putting God in the proper place in your heart and in your life.
Yes.
When you put Him first, then it fills every void. It brings a completion in your life. And I'm telling you, you cannot, you can't even explain this kind of feeling. I mean, if you try to sum it up, you really can't sum it up.
I can't sum it up. When I released my book, and my publisher, she said, you ready? I said, yes, I'm ready. And we had so many delays. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep pressing forward. And so one day, my brother had reached out to me. He said, sister, let me know when you're ready to do your photo shoot. And so, with the COVID-19 going on, he said, listen, COVID going on. I was like, I don't care, COVID going on. And so he ended up doing my photo shoot, and we released the pictures on June 30th. And it was so free for me. I was able to release the book. I was able to release myself. And before, not even just on that day, because we ended up doing the pictures like that weekend.
Wow.
And when he said, "Sis, we're gonna get your pictures, we're gonna have everything ready to go to release your book." And I was like, okay. But the sense of freedom that I have now, the peace of mind I have.
Wow.
One of my friends told me last night I looked too relaxed. And I said, well, how I'm supposed to be? I'm being watchful. I'm being prayerful. But I'm at peace. I really am at peace. I said, now there may be some things that may try to come and try to ruffle my feathers, but I laugh at it now.
Yeah.
And when I was speaking to you that night, and you just said sometimes I just laugh at the enemy.
Yeah.
I just laugh at him because don't give him no room. And so that's what ended up happening. I didn't give him no room, so I was like, oh, damn, you gotta come better than that. Cause oh, you funny. And I talk back to the devil. Oh, you real funny. You still bad? Okay, well, let me know when you finish. And that just started changing my perspective and my talk, like not feeling defeated. Because you know what, some people, they get mad at the enemy. Just start laughing at them.
Yeah.
Because it confuses the enemy.
Yeah, when you laugh and you actually relinquish his power.
Right.
And his authority in your life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You actually, that power and that authority, you get rid of it.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And I ended up, even on this week, I laughed at the enemy. And I just was like, really? I said the same thing. You gotta come better than that. Yeah. You still want to lie. You still want to tell these lies, cause he's the father of all lies. I mean, that's just who he is. But what I've learned is, long as I keep using my weapon, cause the Bible tells us that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and so either I'm gonna speak death or I'm gonna speak life. And I choose to speak life over my life, but I choose to speak death when it comes to the enemy. Because again, when I say I choose to speak death to the enemy, there's nothing he can do or take away from me that God has already placed inside of me. And the sad part about it is, even though the enemy thinks he knows, he's still working for God. The enemy thinks he on his own. He's a bad guy. You still working for God. You working for God. You
you have to ask permission anyway to even to mess with us.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? He have to, just like with Job. He said, "Have you tried my servant Job?"
Yes.
So he has to get permission. He has to get authority to even be able to even mess with us.
Yes.
But the power that God has on our life is far greater than the hand of the enemy.
Yes.
And so sometimes you have to just sit back and you just have to laugh. Yes. And say, is that all you got? Is that all you coming with? Because I was talking today, and I was sharing with my mentor on the way today, and I said, God has placed in my heart so to help people and open doors for people that people would look over. You understand what I'm saying? Would count out. You understand what I'm saying? Would think that they don't fit in this certain place.
Right.
They got to be a who's and what's. I say, but what God is doing, he's unmuting some things in me to be able to set a pathway for others to be able to say, hey, you have a voice.
Right.
And it's not all about, sometimes I have to adhere to the plan of God, because sometimes we get so caught up in people's ideas.
Absolutely.
Opposed to what God is instructing us to do. You may be the one that God is using to open the door for somebody else's destiny.
Right.
But if you get to the point that you think it's only about you, then you're missing it.
You're missing it, yep.
And so we have to be careful that we don't mute somebody else's destiny.
Right.
So you're saying no longer on mute. God will use you to catapult somebody else's life and unmute them because of what you've been through in the process and your journey that he's taking you on to unmute somebody else.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm just like amazed. You have this one about the scripture dropped straight from the Holy Spirit. John 8 verses 4, they said unto him, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say? This they say, testing him that they may have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger as though he did not hear. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her." And again he stooped down and he wrote again. But let me tell you something. That's so amazing because we've all fell short in one way or another. You understand what I'm saying? And so who are we? To throw stones at everybody else, but we don't sweep around our own front door.
Absolutely.
So that right there, so when you look up, okay, who's around? Who can you throw stones at? Nobody. You know, and so even with that, we have to be careful with addressing issues and things like that in people's lives, because you don't excuse it,
right?
But you address it with the kind of agape love that they know that you care about them. You know, and so I want you to tell people how they can get your book, how they can get in touch with you, and all of that. I have mine.
Absolutely. You definitely can go to my Facebook. It's Victoria Nicole Washington. You can hit me up on Instagram. My website is www.nolongeronmute.com. You can email me if you have any questions, any type of counsel. I do all of those things, and you can go to fightforher2019@gmail.com to receive any type of emails or requests.
Wow. Well, we're so glad that you were on the show tonight. I thank God for you coming on, sharing with us. Let this be an encouragement to anybody who don't think that they have a purpose or feel rejected or whatever. Today is the day that you come off mute. Today is the day that you come off mute. And listen, you can visit the website if you need counseling or whatever. Break Free Counseling is available. You can call our office, as well as you can visit our website. And listen, remember this: don't stop until you what? Break free.